On the day of my marking ceremony, my mate, Alex Burke, and my sister Rose Roth are caught mating in the dressing room. This renders me the laughingstock of the entire pack. While I'm drowning in humiliation, the alpha, Nate Highland, steps forward and marks me in front of everyone. After we get married, Nate treats me exceptionally well. However, we're never able to conceive a pup. Eventually, I turn to IVF and finally get pregnant. Nate becomes even more attentive to me. He even calls me darling in his sleep. I think this is a blessing from the moon goddess. This continues until I hear the conversation between Nate and his beta one day. How could you, Nate? Luna Diana adores you and cares for you so much. But just because Rose is scared of pain and doesn't want to go through pregnancy, you secretly switched their eggs and made Luna Diana carry her child? The pup is due in 2 months. What are you going to do about this? Nate goes silent for a moment. Then, he sighs softly and replies, "When the pup is born, I'll hand him to Rose and let her live out her dream of being a mother. I'll tell Diana the pup was stillborn. She's just an abandoned omega. Staying with her for life is compensation enough. So all the love and tenderness he showed me is fake. I immediately schedule an abortion, as I don't want this filthy pup. And I am certainly not holding on to this sham of a marriage either. I may be an omega, but I am no one's pawn." "How could you do this? Aren't you afraid Luna Diana will notice?" There was a pause before Nate Highland answered coolly, "She won't find out." "Why are you so sure?" his beta asked. "She depends on me completely," Nate replied, sure of himself. "She'll believe whatever I tell her." A beat of silence, then the beta muttered, "And I hope you won't live to regret it." Nate chuckled lightly. That day will never come. But that day had already come. I stood frozen outside the meeting room, Nate's cloak still in my hand. I'd brought it for him, worried he might catch a cold while patrolling in the bitter northern winds. Now, my bloodied palm stung with betrayal. I returned to our villa and collapsed before the fireplace, curling into myself as tears poured freely. My wolf howled in agony, echoing the gaping wound in my chest. Then, the door opened. Nate. His boots thudded softly across the rug until he crouched beside me, concern etched into every word. "Why didn't you ask the maids to light the fire? You haven't eaten. The butler said you weren't feeling well." He tucked a strand of hair behind my ear and took my hand gently. "You need to eat. Our pup is counting on you." The tenderness on his face was perfect. Too perfect. 4 years ago, during my marking ceremony, I caught my fated mate, Alex Burke, kissing my sister, Rose. My parents forced me aside, claiming the invitations were a mistake, and the ceremony was meant for Rose. I was humiliated. Then Nate stepped forward and marked me publicly, rescuing me from disgrace. I thought he was my savior. I had once led the South's largest merchant guild in secret. After marrying Nate, I gave it all up, my career, my freedom, to become his Luna, helping him grow his weak pack into a powerful force. This year, we conceived our heir through IVF. He told me the pup was a gift from the moon goddess. I believed him. I gave him everything. Now I knew the truth. His love had been a lie, so I matched it. I smiled up at him. "I'm fine. Just tired." He relaxed, stroking my hand. "I'll send someone to give you a massage." I kept smiling. 3 more days. Then my wolf and I would end this. For good. The next morning, Nate accompanied me to the Royal Healing Center for a prenatal checkup. He stayed by my side the entire time, occasionally asking the healer about the pup's condition. The experienced she-wolf healer smiled and said warmly, "Alpha Nate is so responsible." It's very rare for someone as busy as he is to take the time to care for his mate like this. You're truly lucky. Nate held my hand, his gaze full of tenderness and certainty. This is the moon goddess's blessing we've waited so long for. Of course, I'll protect both mother and child. As we stepped out of the examination room, we ran into Rose. She was wrapped in a loose-fitting gold cloak that concealed her figure. Still, she stuck her belly out proudly. When she saw me, there was a flicker of smug satisfaction in her eyes that she couldn't hide. I stared at her stomach without a word. No wonder she kept saying things like, "What a coincidence we conceived around the same time." She had known about Nate's plan all along. Rose walked over briskly. Her voice was soft and sweet as she asked, "Did the healer say when we will finally get to meet the little prince?" As she spoke, She reached her hand toward my belly. I remained expressionless and abruptly raised my arm to block her. "Why won't you let me touch you?" she questioned in a darkened tone as her smile faltered. She felt embarrassed by my rejection. She was about to say more, but I gently lowered my head and placed a hand over my belly. Then I whined with a trembling voice. "My stomach. It hurts." Rose was stunned, and the smugness faded from her expression instantly. Nate immediately reached out to steady me, his face tense. "Maybe you've been standing too long. Why don't you sit over there for a bit?" His words were full of concern, but I clearly saw him lock eyes with Rose. He directed a subtle shake of his head at her. I looked down and replied softly, "I want to use the restroom." He frowned slightly and reached out to guide me, but I stopped him quickly. "No, don't follow me." He hesitated for a moment and nodded. "All right, just take it slow." As soon as the restroom door shut behind me, I peeked out the window and saw him hurrying off. I knew exactly where he was going. He was hurrying to catch up with Rose. I quietly followed and hid behind a clump of tall grass. From there, I could hear him speaking to her in a low, coaxing tone, like he was calming a wolf pup. Rose frowned and complained like a spoiled pup. "Have you fallen for her? She was about to smack me just now, and you didn't say a word. Was everything you said about loving me just a lie?" Nate let out a soft sigh, relenting and giving in to her. "I'm just looking out for her because she's carrying our pup now." He then pulled a small box from his coat and opened it. Inside was a diamond-studded bracelet. He gently slipped it onto her wrist. "I got you the bracelet you wanted. It just arrived this morning," Nate said dotingly. Rose's expression softened a bit. She smiled and leaned into his arm like a spoiled pup. "Remember that gem mine you mentioned? I bought the mining rights. I made a nice profit, too. Keep an eye out for more good opportunities for me, won't you?" As I stood at a distance, the wind carried their conversation to my ears. Suddenly, it all felt laughably absurd. Nate was using everything I had given him to win over another she-wolf. When I got back home, I pulled out my phone and called my former personal healer, David Ephrat. I went straight to the point. "Hey, David, it's been a while. I'd like to schedule a procedure with you tomorrow. An abortion." "Understood. We'll be ready first thing in the morning tomorrow," he replied from the other end. Just then, I heard familiar footsteps behind me. Nate's voice held a hint of suspicion. "Are you going out tomorrow?" I turned around and met his gaze with a smile. "I signed up for prenatal yoga. Thought I'd get my body moving a bit. I want the pup to come into the world without a hiccup." His expression faltered slightly. There was a flicker of hesitation in his eyes. I deliberately raised a brow and teased, "What? Don't feel like joining me?" He opened his mouth, his eyes avoiding mine. "It's not that. I just don't want you to overdo it. Besides, there's an elders' council meeting tomorrow. Could we go next week instead?" I chuckled softly, my tone gentle. "That's all right. Your work is more important. I'll be fine on my own." He visibly relaxed as a faint smile graced his lips. Then he reached out to ruffle my hair affectionately and say, "You're so sweet. Where else could I find a mate as considerate as you? What would I even do without you?"